They call him the Minister of Darkness, where he wants his legacy to be known as the Governor of Light. Adebayo Adelabu, the man overseeing the national grid that has collapsed 12 times. 12. Not once, not twice, 12 times in the past 1 year, is reportedly considering to declare his intention to contest as governor of Oyo State. These are two different things. Nigerians refer to him and call him the Minister of Darkness. It could be said he has been the worst power minister since democracy returned to Nigeria in 1999, or in the history of modern Nigeria. You can say that he's known as the worst performing minister. But rather than tackle that, rather than solve that, rather than work on that, he wants to jump ship and now make his legacy that of the Governor of Light, the governor of a complex state like Oyo State in southwestern Nigeria. Now the question is this the peak of political audacity? Yes. Is this the peak of a politician not caring what you and I think and telling us you can go to hell, I'll do what I want to do? Or does he actually know something about stomach infrastructure? That is hunger? Is he a philosopher that understands hunger or poverty more than you and I? Today we are looking at the maths of darkness and the politics of ambition, and how stomach infrastructure can be the greatest problem undermining our great country Nigeria. Now let's get into it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you wherever you're watching me from. I'm your host for today. Welcome to Raginghotmic, the home of the uncomfortable truth and the community of the raging radiance. Smash that like button, like, subscribe, share, and drop your comments. Now let's go. Before his appointment, Adelabu was sold as a technocratic genius. That is what they told us. They told us that once he is appointed as the Minister of Power, we are going to be like Egypt. We're going to be like South Africa as regards power. In fact, maybe we could be Canada or the United Kingdom. No more power interruption. No more power outrage. That is what they told us. And when we asked them, why do you have so much hope in him? Why do you think that's so much of him? These are the things they told us about him. And these are not lies. When it comes to personal achievement, I give it to the man. Yeah, I give it to him. You can't knock him on that. But that tells you that personal achievement doesn't translate to leadership or governance. Those are two distinct things. It can only help, but it doesn't automatically mean you are a good leader when you've achieved some personal, or when you've done you've done good in your personal life, or done great in your personal life. Now let me go with the first one. The first and most important. Even though I'm not really somebody who grades individuals on if they went to school, what they graduated with. I don't really do that. But if they've had good grades in school and also in their private life, in their career, they are always towing the right line, I say, yeah, I take that as a benefit. Now let's go with Adebayo Adelabu. He graduated with a first class honors from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, OAU, and he's a fellow of ICANN. First class in accounting. Graduated with first class in accounting from OAU, and a chartered accountant, a fellow of ICANN. That's number one. Let's go with the second one. He reached the pinnacle of banking as the Deputy Governor of Operations at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Yeah. He was the Deputy Director. He was the Deputy Governor of Central Bank, in charge of operations. Deputy Governor of Operations at the Central Bank. Yeah. CBN. You could say that's a political appointment. I get it. I'm listening to you. I know your mind, like someone can just appoint him. What is it really? Now in the private sector also, he's a former executive director and chief financial officer of First Bank. You see, if he's the former director and CFO, chief financial officer of First Bank, at the same time, he's a former deputy governor of Central Bank. in charge of operations. He has achieved something in the private sector. He has done the same in the in public sector. So you have to give it to the man. He's also the grandson of legendary Adegoke Adelabu. He's the grandson. The famous or infamous Ben Clemes. Yes, I had to read up the story because before even doing this, I had some of my southwestern friends telling me some stories about the father. Although I remember growing up, we didn't talk about him in history and social studies. I remember, but I found out he died before Nigeria got their independence. So if he died before Nigeria got their independence, you can't mention him with the likes of Ladoko Akintola, with the likes of Obafemi Awolowo, and all those. He died before we got our independence. We dealt mainly with only those who were alive when Nigeria got their independence. The only man we discussed that achieved something before we got our independence was Herbert Macaulay. That was the only guy. Every of our social studies talked about from 1960 down. So that's why I didn't know about him. They call him Penclemes because I think he had to do with peculiar mess. He had problem pronouncing the word peculiar mess. So he called it Penclemes. Now, this man was the Nigerian's Minister of Natural Resources and Social Services from January 1955 to January 1956. His grandfather. So he comes from a home, not really a middle class, an elite. Now, let's go with his failures. I just mentioned his personal achievements as the Minister of Power. Under Adelabu, the National Grid has recorded 12 total system failures in 2024 alone. The National Grid has recorded 12 national system failures. 12 total system failures. 12 in the space of 1 year. So what is he doing? Instead of fixing it and working on it, he wants to jump ship and go to something bigger. That's the number one. The number two, under Adelabu, band A prices jumped from 68 naira to 225 naira. Imagine. That is over 300% increase. The price jumped from 68 naira to 225 naira. KMH. That is what the price jumped from. Over 300% increase. That is premium darkness. Nigerians are paying for premium darkness. The price jumped. In theory, he said so many beautiful things and they clapped hands for him. Yet, the services didn't jump. The services became more awful. Roughly 100 million Nigerians still live without a national grid access till date. Yes. In a country that has a population of more than 160 million population. Over 100 million. We are looking at more than 60% or close to 70% of Nigerians live without access to the national grid. To date. You can imagine that. You can imagine that statistics, and he's the power minister. Under Adelabu, the World Bank estimates power outages cost Nigeria 29 billion naira annually. Yes, the World Bank estimates. You know, they always bring all the statistics when it favors them from the international community. When it doesn't favor them, they tell you we're a sovereign country. They can't tell us what to do, or they can't tell us our country more than us. But they pick it, or they pick them when it favors them. So they can't dictate to me what to say or what to do. Do you understand? I pick them because when it favors them, they pick them. The World Bank estimates that power outages cost Nigeria roughly 29 billion naira annually. Every year we lose 29 billion. That is 10% of our total GDP. That could contribute 10% to our total GDP and increase our GDP per capita. Add some money to individuals, to their pockets. And this same man in charge of this ministry is not focused on working on this. He's already thinking of contesting as the governor of Oyo State. Despite an installed capacity of 13,000 megawatts, The grid often struggles to even wheel 5,000 megawatts without collapsing or crashing. They installed, instead of working on the wheeling, they didn't work on the wheeling. This is why I call these guys the APC political actors. They strive on political theater, or like actors. Do you understand? Movie stars. Instead of working on the wheeling of the grid, they installed the capacity of 13,000, which the grid can't even wheel. It wheels only 5,000 and it collapses. But you install 13,000. So why deceiving? Are you going forward or you are going backward? What are you doing? Now, what are my talking points? How can you transition from a ministry where the national grid is on life support to the campaign trail? The national grid is on life support. It's not working. Nigerians are in darkness. People have light 2 hours in 24 hours. And you want to seamlessly, easily transition from a national grid on life support. Would I even call it life support? I think it's a dead national grid. And a national grid in the mortuary. You want to transition from that to campaigning on the streets. How can you then manage a complex state like Oyo State if you failed in the power ministry? The power ministry is a ministry for technocrats. You have to have the will. You have to understand what is wrong with the system. Even if you don't understand, it's not like our energy is different from the energy of South Africa or energy of Ghana or energy of countries who have done it. It's the same. So if you have the will and you're not corrupt and you want to deliver and you are just an average individual, I don't even need to say intelligent, you can always go get those technocrats who know about the power sector to work with you. It's not you doing the job. You're coordinating those doing it. And look at all his personal accolades. Look at how he's messed it up. Now let's go to the third one. Adelabu successfully created a two-tier Nigeria where only the rich can afford light. Yes, only the rich. Two-tier. You have the poor, you have the rich. And only the rich can afford to pay for light. Nigerians are paying for premium darkness. Yes, they are paying high prices that is not reciprocated by the services. The services are substandard. The prices are high standard. Even the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, reported that over 760 manufacturing firms shut down recently due to energy costs. Over 760 manufacturing companies have shut down. Now you look at this, they're going to be on that report. It's going to be more than 760. You could be looking at double that number, 1,500. That's 1,500 firms shut down. You know what that means? Unemployment. You know what that means? The GDP suffers. Imagine these companies or these firms were employing 10 people, or let's say 15 people. Multiply 15 by even 750. These are people thrown out on the streets. So the funny thing or the sad reality is that at the end, if he's the candidate of the APC, he's still going to win. Despite me listing all these things, despite me educating you, that is the system in Nigeria. It is called civilian rule, civilian dictatorship. Yes, it's not done by the military, it's done by the civilians. And they claim they are progressives. Yes, he will still, all he needs to do is to become the flag bearer of the APC. If venture gets that. Because he will share bags of rice. Some people who like him will vote him. Most people will not vote him, but INEC or the electoral body will do the rest. Because the election results will not be transmitted in real time. Not all of them. They'll tell you they're still counting the votes. So you see a country where you succeed despite failing in public service. You succeed in politics despite being a massive failure or despite being awful in public service. List all of them. He doesn't need you and I to vote him to become governor. He needs the APC to appoint him because that's an appointment. So it's all about what you do in the party. The party or the individuals that dictate the laws or they make the rules for the party are more important than 160 million Nigerians. That is the system. These 30 or 40 individuals that hold the party hostage, the APC, They are way more important than 160 million Nigerians. Nigerians can say anything they want to say. Everything depends on these individuals and who and what they share to each, or the position they share to each of their friends and cronies. In conclusion, if the grid collapses one more time, does Adelabu's ambition also collapse? Or are we used to stomach infrastructure that a bag of rice is worth 4 years of blackouts? So if the grid collapses, does his career collapse also? Political career? Are we in a system that stomach infrastructure means more to us? A bag of rice is worth 70,000 or 60,000 or 75,000 bag of rice is worth more than 4 years of total darkness or blackouts. Drop your comments below. Or your people, are you ready for premium darkness? Are you ready for Benkel MS 2.0? Are you ready for that? If you're not ready for that, you have to go out and make your voices be heard, or get prepared to witness not just premium darkness, but premium ineffective leadership 2.0. That is what you are going to get. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the Radiance community. We have to do better. We really, really have to do better. Thanks.